Hello, everyone, and welcome to the April stream for April. My goodness, great start from me. We are here. It's going to be, I think it's safe to say it's going to be a very packed stream. So, first of all, it's not just the mods on the couch. We have a couple of mods on the PCs. There's quite a lot we're going to be going through. But first of all, stream today. Oh, we're getting a zoom in, a little zoom in there. Mod Shawnee here. To my left, Mod Raven and Mod Osborne. And to my right, Mod Jack and Mod Stu. Before we get into things, Stu, actually, I kind of want to bring up something very quickly if we can. So you obviously announced a team move very recently. Do you want to talk about that very quickly?
Certainly. So I was on the growth team, and I've been moved over to the mining and smithing team.
There we go. So this is why Stu is on here. So what a time for you to join, because obviously you've been getting involved in the discussions. Obviously you had a post go out about an hour or two ago as well, right?
Yeah, I just posted out a design for surface mining sites, where the primary sites will go. So far, we've had some pretty positive feedback, surprisingly positive feedback. I was expecting much more indignant rage, yeah, but seems to be quite well received.
It's all different on mining and smithing.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone's chill on mining and smithing. No one ever says anything bad.
So yeah, we'll kind of obviously go a bit more in depth on that as well. So we have you guys on here with mining and smithing. We have... are you enjoying yourself there, Raven?
I'm just laughing at the chat.
Oh, okay. We have Raven on here to talk about essentially player-owned farms, which is very exciting. Mod Osborne, we're going to come to you first because obviously going to have to chat about a couple of things that happened last week.
Yeah.
So
last week.
obviously last week you come up with this really cool post which I enjoyed about obviously stuff like content delays and so on. I kind of want to use the start of the stream to kind of talk about the prefaces of content delays, why they happen, and so on and so forth. Because obviously it's not a fun subject to ever touch upon. We never ever want delays to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can try and summarize it, easy said than done. Like, why does this happen?
Yeah. For those who not everybody's on Reddit, so just kind of it's not. I tried to go into a bit more detail about why delays happen and why they really hurt a lot on Runescape in particular. And it's not only hurting obviously. People who are waiting for the content hurts us as well. We don't want to be, kind of apologising all the time, having content held back. But just to kind of give you an indication of why I feel that delays hurt on Runescape, one of the decisions we made a few years ago was that we were going to be ultra transparent about the content we're making. So even to the point where we're ninja fixing, we're polling on ninja fixes. Some could argue that we shouldn't do that. I know we saw that recently. But virtually everything we're doing in the public domain. We're doing it very openly. And if you think about the number of updates that we produce, then, sorry, a little bit of backtrack. Also, if you look at the rest of the gaming industry, the sheer number of delays that happens in any other games company, a lot of us have worked in other games companies, they are not as transparent as we are. So if a delay happens in one of those games or in one of those studios, nobody sees it. It's like a tree falling in a forest, but nobody's there to see it. Because we're so transparent, because we're showing everything, we're making that sacrifice. We know full well that we get the benefit of feedback, we get the benefit of being course corrected by players if we're doing something wrong, but we lose a lot. And what we lose is that we actually, when we delay something or cancel something, everybody knows about it, everybody feels it. There's going to be passionate people who really wanted that update, and that's going to crazily hurt. And that, for me, is one of the biggest reasons why RuneScape feels like it delays more. There are other things, though, like the sheer... As opposed to other games, the sheer amount we produce, so this hand in hand with the transparency, we produce something every week, reasonably substantial. And you just have to look at, say, kind of Mod Ramen and what's happened over the past 6 months. He had to kind of come on to Evil Dave Quest. And so he had to come on to Evil Dave Quest.
That was in November.
Yeah, end of November.
Just for a time frame perspective.
And get that done because somebody else had left. And this is one of the things that you can't really anticipate. A developer left the company. So he took over development of that. That then had a knock-on effect on Solak. It's like dominoes, which meant that also had a knock-on effect on Group Ironman. Now, there are things we can improve here, things like why is it that there's no contingency there?
Yeah.
One of the reasons is because we have this kind of policy of there is one developer, if there's somebody who's super passionate about a project, we wait for them to become available. So if there was a Death of Chivalry 2, we'd absolutely wait for Stu.
Yay. That's a recent policy because we've not done that and it hasn't worked out. So,
so if you don't mind me saying, what's an example of that then?
Of someone waiting to go
So Group Ironman, Solak.
Okay,
They're both very good examples recently of we've waited for the right person because they're that person's baby. They're going to be passionate, they've got the expertise.
So yeah, Solak is very much Ramen's project.
Yeah. We are going, we wait for that. That might be something we change. That's the thing, out of everything I'm going to talk about, that's the thing that we could probably change, have more contingency. And I think we could do better at that. And the other one is kind of holding hands up. Like, when we went up on stage at RuneFest in 2016, like, that was the most ambitious we have ever been on stage. We threw everything at expansions. Everything was going to be within an expansion, you know, like Weather System, Elder God Quest. They're all going to be contained within an expansion. And then Menopause happened and didn't do what we wanted. So I was up on stage shouting, you know, merrily about all these updates we could produce. But that one RuneFest has had so many knock-on issues and so many problems we're still paying for right now. And so it's just a case of we're going to have to just regain people's trust by consistently producing high-quality updates, justifying why we're making changes and delaying things if we do. But really, all we can do is, over a long period of time, just regain trust by producing high-quality stuff.
So ideally, something along the lines of how February and March have gone then.
Yeah, I think that's been really good. I mean, April has been a little bit quiet, but May's going to come back with some really good content. And all we can do, like, we can't expect people to believe us that the content we've just announced on Friday is going to hit the dates that they are. But we're going to do what we can. We're going to make sure that they're high enough quality so that we can just, over time, work away at that kind of mistrust at the moment and get it back to a good place.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to stick with you, and then I'm going to get ready to go to mine.
Talk about happier stuff.
So about a couple of things. So in that post on Friday, we mentioned bank rework.
Yep.
What's going on with that?
So bank rework, we've done a bit of investigation work. Like talking to players, it's become abundantly clear that for many people, bank rework equals bank placeholders.
Right.
Like they're synonymous. Like some people just want bank placeholders, really. But as a proportion of the engine work that's needed, it's always been engine work that's been holding it back. It's not actually the largest component of it. It's still big, but it's not the biggest part of it. So then that leads to the inevitable conversation. We're getting like deja vu of mining and smithing. Like, do we bring that forward out of bank rework and launch that earlier? So I initially was wondering whether or not we would poll it. And I do wonder whether or not we still should, because like we got rightly lampooned a bit for trying to bring forward the high-level bits of mining and smithing. Do we do the same with placeholders and bank rework? So we're doing a little bit behind the scenes, kind of working that out. But yeah, like I'd love to know what people think.
All right.
And do it a bit earlier. Who knows?
I mean, chat says yes, no.
We should poll it. Poll the poll.
Whether we should poll it.
Yeah.
I think, like from my perception of the bank rework, like the biggest hitter is the placeholders, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think a part of that is seeing the impact that Old School have had with placeholders and what it's done for them. And I think because players know how it works in Old School, kind of wants it to be the same in RuneScape. Because who wants to mess up the order in their bank, right?
But we can't assume, because we made that same assumption with the survey results on mining and smithing, that people wanted the high-level updates. So I just feel that kind of little bit tentative, a little bit shaky about just saying, yes, we're going to go for placeholders first. And by the way, caveat, this is relating back to something I've said before, we are investigating at the moment. Like, it might come back and Engine says that, no, I'm sorry, there's more work than we actually first anticipated. So again, this is the problem with transparency. Like, I want to find out whether or not it's worth bringing placeholders forward, which means being transparent, but also means that leaves us in danger of, when it delays, people hate us. So yeah, be aware of that.
Okay, and Group Ironman.
Group Ironman, there's a poll out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the poll went out today. It's open to everybody, so please do vote in that. It's not like some of the previous Ironman polls, which were you have to be an Ironman to vote in. We don't want that. We want this to be absolutely open so you can tell us your thoughts. A note that Mod Ramen is away at the moment, so he won't be replying to people about
Back next week, I believe.
Back next week,
yeah.
At which point he's going to start writing up a blog. So it's worth noting that this poll is a survey poll. So what people vote in isn't going to necessarily happen. We're just trying to get as much data as possible.
That was put on the start of the poll.
Yeah.
It does mention at the start of the poll that, there's no guarantee that the results will be actioned, but it's more of a to help us get an idea of,
And this is actually pretty, this is pertinent particularly to question 2. What we've realised is from talking to players and from people's response to question 2, that there's two ways of interpreting it. So it's asking how many people do you want in a Group Ironman kind of team. And there's one way of interpreting it, which is, hey, when I set up a Group Ironman, it's going to have 2 people in it because I've already got my mates ready for it. And then there's also what's my expectation of Group Ironman? Like, what is the upper limit that I would expect from Group Ironman? So my personal desires, but also what I expect from the update. Like, you might feel like it shouldn't go beyond 5, or it shouldn't go beyond 2, that kind of thing. So if you don't mind, we're going to straw poll. We've got both of those. We've separated that question into 2, so it gives us more data.
All right, we'll pop that straw poll up. JD's going to pop that in the chat now, and then let you guys vote.
We're going to do that on social as well afterwards, so it won't just
Okay,
be from this.
Of course.
So as I say, just gathering as much as possible.
And then we'll come back to that midway through the stream. So we use it to kind of segue to number one. Mod Jack, and I come over to you. Mine and Smithing. Last time we had it on stream, a little while back, kind of had the beta back in February. Everything else. What's happened since then?
We've been continuing to do design and continuing to do implementation. So we're the flow that we're going through is we design a thing. We've got a big list of things we have to work through, a huge list. We design it, put the design out to the players give us feedback, we change the design, show it to them, all seems fine, we start implementing it. So the current state of development is, at the moment, we're working on implementing Masterwork Armour, upgraded Masterwork Armour and Artisan's Workshop, which were the last two designs that went out. The last design that we put up was for what's going to happen with drop tables and spring cleaner. We've got quite a lot of feedback on that. Mostly they didn't like the lore of something. There are some people with concerns about some buffs to PVM, some nerfs to PVM. We're taking that seriously. We're looking at the balancing. None of that is definitely final balancing. And the thing about balancing is that it can continue to be changed when it's not a fundamental underlying mechanic. So if we say, oh, we ruined the drop tables of Spirit Warriors, well, we can buff the drop tables of Spirit Warriors slightly. That doesn't affect the underlying design. Stu earlier today put up another new one for mining sites. You've been mapping out where the mining sites are going to be.
Yeah.
How was that to do as a graphic? Because there's obviously a lot there. So did that take time?
It took more time than I would have liked. In the end, I started off being highly comprehensive about it and documenting and auditing all of the sites in the game, and then making this very detailed map of where they are in accordance to each other and putting down lots of notes. Then I realized that it was just a spam of icons all over the map that was completely incomprehensible to anybody who didn't need all that detail. So I ripped most of it out so that we just have the primary ones so someone could understand it.
And then, of course, everyone immediately demands to know where those icons have gone that you
they're wondering, where's the one in Waterbirth Island? Where's the one on Fremennik Isle? So, yeah, couldn't really win there.
What kind of feedback are you looking for?
Mostly just to see if the placement of them feels right. One key aspect is that I need to ensure that the primary sites don't have any core locked content requirements behind them. So thematically, for example, the Dark Animika and Light Animika being tier 90 and being themed to Seren and Zaros, you'd expect them to be in Prifddinas or somewhere deep in Mauritania, or but we need to ensure that someone who's just making a mining pure doesn't need to complete a certain number of quests or unrelated requirements. So trying to resolve that, plus also things like Bane ore, which has been associated with quests for quite a long period of time, and adapting that so that there's more sources of it elsewhere in the world.
So it's not that you won't put it in Elf City, it's just that it will have to be duplicated somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, content is unlocking additional mining sites, and we want to retain that. Like, for example, we're going to make sure that there's some good sources of Runite on Crandor, given that that's associated with Dragon Slayer and Rune Armour. But we need to ensure that there's still a primary source that doesn't have any requirements behind it. It might be a real trek to get there. It might be really annoying to reach it, but there should require some exploration for the high tier ones, but ideally shouldn't require much in the way of unlocks, which can be challenging where it comes to ones in Mauritania, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
We've got concept art as well.
Okay, so
the artists have been working away. I think we've got Orikalkum Armour. Can you show us that? Yeah, that's the. So one of the things we got out of the survey was quite an even split, I think, on whether you like more realistic or less realistic looking armour. So we've decided that for the smithing rework, we're going to go with armour that looks more like armour than a fantastic
kind of a medieval
cosplay suit.
Yeah, could have happened in history.
So you can see from that. I mean, that is not a realistic looking suit of armour because it's sort of red and green and floaty, but it looks much more grounded than, say, Malevolent does.
Yeah.
And that's the level 60, so it's just above halfway along the scale.
Exactly,
so it's got some medieval elements with that faceplate and so forth, but also that spikiness of and the scales indicating it being draconic.
Yeah.
Looks like a gladiator outfit in a way,
Yeah, it's got that sort of gladiatorial
Yeah.
helmet. Yeah. They've been the concept artists have been experimenting with different kinds of realistic armor and taking inspiration from bits of them and mixing and matching.
So is this going to be the approach for all the armors in Mining and Smithing?
For smithing, yeah. Although
For
they'll probably
smithing,
probably still will get a little bit more fantastical as they level up, but that's kind of what the concept artists are looking at the moment. And we've also got some weapons, I think, as well. Yeah, so those are the Orikalkum weapons. So we're not planning to do all the weapons at every tier. I think we've got Orikalkum has hammers and mauls, maces and mauls. And then Bane has swords, Elder Rune has swords, and Necrite has axes, I think.
So is that
we've got a spread of weapons across the tiers.
to get more weapon diversity?
Yeah, for a bit of variety. I mean, right now in the combat mechanics, it doesn't really make any difference.
Yeah.
But just to get a bit of visual variety, because I was actually pushing for everything to have swords, and the others said, no, can we get some non-sword weapons in here somewhere, please? So that's why Orikalkum has Warhammers and Mauls. I don't know if you could see there. Can you bring the concept art back up again? There's 2 different versions of each one. And what we talked to the artists for a long time about what was practical in terms of development time. They wanted to have, in the rework, weapons can be upgraded, and they wanted to get that in graphically somewhere. So what we ended up agreeing was that the highest level of upgrade would look different from all of the other tiers of upgrade. So because realistically, people are only really going to be running around with either the lowest tier because it's the cheapest, or the highest tier because it's the most expensive. So there wasn't really any point doing unique models for every single one. So we've got 2 versions of each weapon, essentially.
So we had the beta in February. Is there ever a chance of any of this stuff getting tested out again?
Yeah, we are planning another beta, but probably not going to do like a mid-year one, because the problem is it does cost us about a month of development time. The last one took something like 2 weeks to get the beta up and running. Because everything, so when we're testing something internally and it's all working, if it's got some rough edges, it doesn't matter because we can work around them. Actually getting it into a state where it wouldn't just break the moment anyone tried to do anything strange was actually quite a lot of work. And then the time of the beta itself was mostly spent sort of monitoring, fixing, making updates to the beta. So it kind of slowed down development by a month. That was well worth doing because we got loads of really valuable feedback from it. But we're not going to be doing them regularly because they're so costly. So the plan at the moment is another one towards the end of the year when we're very much more feature complete. So we're not going to do like an interim one. We're going to try and get everything fixed and then beta that.
I think that's cool, especially if it's more feature complete as well, because that's when we could come across something that we might miss, and then obviously fix it during that. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. They're huge changes that we're making, really going to benefit from a beta.
Is there anything else in regards to Mining Swift in that regard? Or?
I think so. No, we're just plugging away with it.
So I guess the best thing right now is to give that feedback on that post that Stu has made. I think that's the best approach right now.
And any other designs that we do.
Of course.
In the, any feedback you want to give us, because we're being largely shaped by what the players' response to it is. It's actually, for me, coming from more of a ninja background recently, it's been like night and day to be going from very rapid fixes to something that's more about front-loaded design and making sure that we're very happy with things before we implement it. So.
It's fair. And obviously, they can tweet at you guys as well, Jagex Jack at Jagex Stu as well, for a bit more of a personal talk as well about it, if they so wish.
We're doing quite a lot of chatting on the new Discord as well. The Runescape.
On the discord.dg/rs. There you go. So you can jump on there as well, and they're chatting on there, which is awesome. All right, so thank you so much, guys. And I'll ask you guys to hop off, so you guys don't have to stay on here for the rest of it. I'm going to come over to Mod Raven.
Hello.
That's what we're going to do. Now, originally we had a gameplay section. Now it's just going to be a discussion section. So let's do a bit of chat. And I'm going to give you this because it's going to help you.
Yes, because I've completely forgotten everything I sent you.
This is going to be your section.
Okay.
And I'll chime in where possible.
Right, so player-owned farm. The general idea behind it is that you are going to get a farm, or rather the farm will be owned by an NPC that we're currently calling Granny Potterington. We'll have a picture of her later.
Granny
Potterington.
Right, Granny Potterington.
We have a whole backstory and we have a character already in mind, which may be me.
Yeah, picture now. Do it.
Oh, can we get the picture now? Here we go.
Here's Granny Potterington.
Granny Potterington. She has. She owns a farm. The farm will be in the North Ardoyne area.
That farm that doesn't.
That farm that has no purpose.
We are sheep herding.
We are taking it over. We're throwing it and replacing it with our own. Granny Potterington has owned this farm. Her family has helped to farm it, but sadly her husband's passed away and all the kids have disappeared. So she's now on her lonesome and unable to look after the farm. And so who should help but the player? Who'll be able to step in and offer to help around on the farm in exchange for getting some certain benefits and a cut of the profit.
It's all very simple.
You could seriously just read the objectives of stories all the time. This is amazing. Oh, man.
Right, so the idea, the simple process of it being is that you'll get access to the farm. You will have some small sections of the farm that you will build up and improve using, hopefully, a mixture of construction and farming on the area. And you'll be able to acquire animals which will go in these new paddocks you've acquired, and
How do I acquire them?
the first ones you'll get probably from Granny
get a starter
Pottington.
pack.
You'll basically get a starter pack.
I have some animals stored here.
So I prepared earlier.
After that, the animals can come from a variety of different places. Like we've got an idea that they'll come from a sort of shop, quote unquote. But we may also be able to do them as drops. We could do them as quest
rewards and things
we
like
could
that,
put them in all manner of different places.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's loads of places you could get.
Yeah, Elite
an animal
Dungeons,
from.
the end of that. I win
Why
this
not?
Super Cow.
That is obviously
Mother Ryan's
the
face
top
right
tier
now,
thing.
by the way.
Do it.
Kill the
Add a
boss,
cow.
Yeah, there's a big loot beam. There it is.
Moving swiftly on. Where was I? Right, yes. So you'll be able to raise animals in this farm. You'll start off with something simple. I think we're talking about rabbits at first. You'll be able to raise them, get some small amount of materials. The rabbits will breed, produce
they
more
replicate
rabbits.
pretty fast.
Indeed. And you'll sell them on to make profit for the farm. We're looking at an internal currency at the moment, subject to change, obviously. And as you acquire more of this currency, more of this sort of farming XP, you'll be able to build up other paddocks. You'll be able to acquire more animals and breed different things.
Yeah.
As animals grow up, you'll be able to keep checking up on them, and you'll get XP at certain growth stages. So we're talking about like from an egg to a child, from a child to an adolescent, from an adolescent to an adult.
So it's kind of like checking a tree, but multiple times.
But
in its
multiple
growth path.
times, yeah, you'll be, and it stores it all up. So you, if your animal, if you leave it for a good while and you've left it enough food, you can come back and maybe you've got 3 growth states, and you'll get all of that in one go.
Diseased?
So we're talking about disease at the moment. We've got there will be a chance for disease, but we're talking about the idea of disease not being quite how it works with plants.
Right.
So disease isn't just a punishment to make you annoyed. You'll find the animal is, oh dear, your animal is sick. You'll go and examine the animal and see a number of symptoms. You use the symptoms to identify which one of a limited number of diseases it is.
Oh, it's lupus.
Find the cure. The cure gives you some bonus farming XP. So it's both a disadvantage because it will hinder your animal's stats and therefore the produce you get from it.
All
But
right.
you'll also get some bonus XP, well, actual XP, not bonus XP. That's a specifically different thing. You'll get a reward for curing it.
Yeah.
So it becomes a gameplay as much as it is a punishment. So, but you can also limit illness with various different things. Yes. So there'll be you can sell. My brain's just turned off. Bear with me. At sort of each growth stage. Farm. Thank you.
That's the key word.
You can sell the animals at certain growth stages. So some farm, we're talking the idea of like visiting farmers, and some of these visiting farmers will want, like they'll want only lambs, or they'll want only full grown, that kind of thing. And you can sell them on for a chunk of XP/reward. But you can also, if you can just get an animal to a sort of mature stage when they're nice and old, and they will produce less materials. But when you've got a mature animal in your paddock and you've used the, we're talking about having an item you need to turn on, but a thing.
To turn it on.
To turn on, you'll get access to the perks. The current joke title is the Percolator, and it will probably
Percolator, nice.
It will probably stick because that's what's happened. And this will, which means that if you have got a mature animal in your pen, it will unlock the perk, and you'll get benefits across the game.
Okay.
So you lose the access to the materials.
Not invention
but you
perk.
get another. Oh no. So like
global benefit.
like Memorial to Guthix.
Oh right,
like
so the
that
global
kind of
benefits
thing.
you get.
Yeah, so it's just it's just a straight unlock as long as the animal's there. Animals don't die of old age because we polled it and people didn't like that. You also don't have to.
Oh, what, straw polled it?
We straw polled. Yeah. So
Discord.
if any of you are not aware, we have a Discord chat, which isn't the Runescape one, just because we're difficult, where we're regularly talking with players, getting your ideas, getting your feedback, and if you want to be involved in farming, come join that. I'll tweet the link in when I get back.
Question.
Oh.
Names. Are they going to just be given generic names, or will they use names like the port system, for example?
So we've been talking about that recently. Originally, no, they were just going to be cow.
Oh, man.
Spoiler, I've given away what one of the animal types is.
Oh, no.
But we're looking now, because we were talking about the idea of, you won't be able to bank sort of raised animals in a stack in your bank. You'll have because they've got object variables, mean they can't stack.
Yeah.
And we were originally planning on having it so that you would be able to look, mouse over, see all the traits and stuff on it. But we were talking to Mod Ryan, who's like, but I wouldn't do that. I'd hate that. But if I go there and go, Gertrude, I know what Gertrude's got. So we're looking into it at the moment, the idea of naming your animals or possibly randomly naming them. I'm not going to promise it.
Please.
Are you going to have like a stable as well? Because I imagine there's lots of people who are worried about new items.
The plan is that it will be better for you to sell the animals than to store them.
Right.
But you'll only ever need to store 2 mature animals of any one type to get perks anyway.
Okay.
So it would be better for you to raise them than it would be to store them.
Right, okay.
But we are also looking at possible storage solutions. I can't promise anything because it's expensive and
Server
costly.
space and all that.
We're already kind of doing things with the save game file that is kind of pushing it to the sort of size limit that we can do and kind of going.
Just
but
do it, see what happens.
It's fine. Mod Helen has
Why
told
Dave
me
is
no.
never a dev, by the way.
I like seeing what happens. Keep going.
Where was I? Farm. Yes.
Types of animals?
Types of animals. Okay, yes. So we are planning on launching with, and I will almost certainly get these wrong, rabbits,
Right.
chickens,
Yep.
chinchompers,
Of course.
cows,
Okay.
sheep,
Yep.
spiders.
What?
Yep.
What?
Am I milking these?
Maybe. Yaks
Guess.
and dragons.
What?
There's a
How to
mix.
train your dragon.
We've got a mixture
how to
of
rear
sensible, normal farming
Milk
animals and strange ones.
Yeah, because that's the game we are.
Yes, exactly.
There's a skew towards the
Yeah.
real, but there's also a fantastical subversion.
Exactly. And of course, we're building the system so that we could theoretically, not promising it, add more in the future.
Yeah.
Oh, there's also one more
Mushroom
animal
men.
that I forgot, which is we're adding mushroom people / zygomites. It depends whether law-wise
What
they are.
the? Okay.
So these are based on a player suggestion. We had a bunch of competition entries come in, and this one resonated as something different, something RuneScape-y, something that fitted a niche that we wanted, which was that kind of plant-animal hybrid.
I really like the idea
mushrooms.
of like something different growing on its head for
Yes.
different stages or things like that.
Yeah, it also helped that the artist went, "Oh, I want to do that one." So that helped.
Yeah, I think they like tentacles.
Yeah, I'm not judging them.
Please tell me
Judging
that,
them.
like, if you grow your pet to a certain state, you can then make it be your pet and have it follow you wherever.
Currently, no.
Okay.
So we were going to do that, but in order to do that, we have to put in animations for combat animations if we're going to have to be an override.
Yeah.
We could theoretically do it for just a follower pet, but the last few times we've tried to do that, it's not resonated well.
Correct.
Some of those
So it's
creatures do
been-
have
An
combat
example being,
attacks.
like, just to give you context, because obviously you understand where the reference comes from. For people who don't know, when we added Effie from the Edgeville content last week, the biggest frustration they had was no combat overrides, and that was
Or
the
something we see as,
override
like,
animation
a
stuff
default,
like that.
something we should do.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, and we just, being blunt, we don't have the graphics time to be able to do that. We've got quite a lot already planned.
That is,
There's a lot.
I can understand it genuinely. Like, I'm like, oh man.
Well, yeah, we can look at it. To be honest, like the player-owned farm is something we want to revisit a lot. We love the idea so much.
I love this idea of it being not just this content that's in game and then it's done with. Like, oh my goodness, well, a quest reward adds this to a quest.
Exactly.
something like
I want
that.
to get to the point where we're basically like almost up to Sears Village with farm. It's like
Well, we're also building it so, and again, this isn't a promise, but we're building the system with space for adding special things in.
Nice.
So I've already had Mod Drew kind of grumbling at me because we have, so animals have stats. They have certain things. They have health and happiness, which makes sense.
Yep.
These make sense for growing up. They have up to 3 traits. So these are like special things like this one's a happy cow or this one's a robust cow, etc. These will modify things. It makes sense. Shh.
as opposed to a floppy cow.
It could be a floppy cow. I might put a floppy cow in now. And they have weight, so you can grow bigger animals. The idea being that we could potentially have competitions of who can raise the, fattest cow kind of
Yes.
thing. And then we have the
heard.
other two,
Go on.
which are speed and attractiveness, which won't
But
have.
why would you have speed?
But they won't have any benefit when we launch. But the idea being that if player-owned farm goes down well, if people are enjoying it, then we could potentially add something like raising animals to race them for speed,
or mount them.
or no.
But definitely race.
Or raising animals too. So the attractiveness comes from a sort of Crufts style idea.
Yeah.
Like you would raise your prize-winning pig and go, look, isn't she so pretty? And, you know, put it up against other pigs and see who's got the prettiest pig.
And the other one was attractiveness, right?
That's
one
the
successful,
prettiness.
yeah.
That's the crafts. Yeah.
It makes
Obviously.
complete sense.
Come on.
I don't question it. I don't question anything anymore, if I'm completely honest.
So these will go, like these stats will go live, it will be functionally useless, but
Yeah.
we'll reveal them so you can see how pretty your pig is. If you want to, well, not pig, because they're not what we're starting with, but if you want to numerically compare how pretty your yak is to, say, Preslek's yak, you can say my yak's prettier than Preslek.
Hero yak.
Hero yak.
I really want it. Yeah. Okay.
Well, so one of the things we're doing on the subject of hero yaks is, as well as the individual animals, individual traits, you'll be able to breed different kind of breeds of animals.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, hopefully. Spoiler, we may have to cut things.
Bit of spice. Yeah.
And one of the things that we're planning on launching with is the idea of breeding a shiny animal, which is a spanglier version of that animal, and this you'll get more resources from it.
Yeah.
As you raise it up, and you can sell it for more as well.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of
An elite kind of farming animal.
yes. So we've got the ideas of like the classic golden fleece for your sheep,
Yeah.
and then we have the more ridiculous ideas for the
Golden
cows.
goose.
The current conversation with the cows is the different breeds are strawberry cow, chocolate cow, vanilla cow, and there's a special shiny cow as well, which I won't spoiler.
I think you can probably guess from what you've just said, but yeah, that's cool. So they produce.
They produce chocolate milk, strawberry milk, banana milk.
Did you really have to do that? Yeah?
Well,
Yeah?
I just realised as soon as I did it that that's
And
that's gonna be a gift.
that's
Well,
now
great.
going to be a gift. Yeah, there we go.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, boy.
Right, what have I missed? Yes, so the farm will, as I've said earlier, be taking over North Ardoyne. It will not be instanced.
Yeah.
Everyone
wow,
will be able to interact on the same farm. You will see your farm, but everyone will interact. You'll be able to talk and interact with each other. We want to make it a social thing. There's a quick mock-up. This isn't what the final design will look like. It's a mock-up of what it could look like.
Yeah. It's a bit browner, I think, than we'd probably go for.
Yeah, I think we'll tweak bits and bobs. Although it's not the... Oh, there it is. There's the sinister-looking goats that are all in a weird occult circle at the bottom right. We're not even doing goats, but there they are looking sinister. Sorry, this is a thing I noticed and I couldn't unnotice. Where was I? Yes. So you'll see your farm, but you'll be able to interact with other people. We want to try and encourage the idea of trading animals.
Yeah.
But because of the system on the animals, it can't be on the Grand Exchange because they have object variables on them.
Farmers market.
But it means that you can trade them with other players in a sort of farmer's market kind of thing.
Nice.
So it'll be the NPC person you can trade them to, or you can trade them to other players. So, for example, you breed the super studly shiny sheep, which has all of the traits saying this is a fantastic, sheep that
Gotcha.
increases your chance of
So
shininess.
one pen on the farm will effectively be, because everybody's got the shared farm, will be where they do the farmers market stuff.
Yeah, so people
we
can
have
gather
the farm
around there.
exchange then, basically.
Yeah.
And you can go, do you want to buy this sheep? It will cost you billions of coins.
Yeah.
And people go, oh my God, I need that sheep. Maybe not, but that's the goal. That's the dream goal.
That is, yeah.
So that there'll be some sort of trading, but it'll be more like the old system of trading. It won't be Grand Exchange. You'll have to talk with other people.
Almost trades with each other. Yeah.
Yeah. What have I missed?
There's been a lot here.
Daily
This is
Scape.
great.
Right, yes. So we're trying to avoid daily scape as much as possible. Because of the nature of farming, it will still be a timed activity. But we're looking at ways to reduce and limit that. So it's not I have to do this at this amount of time. It's I can come in and meet it at my leisure and still get the same benefits I would have got
So you
before.
can manage when you're coming back.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's a limit to it. Like, we can only store data up to
I
certain
think a lot of
amount
people know that about farming. Like farming has that baked in. So
Yeah.
I don't think, I'm hoping there won't be too much resistance to that.
Yeah, we're also trying to design it so that you could it augments your farming runs, so that you'll sort of start on the farm, do stuff on the farm, do your farming run, come back, you'll take the produce and stuff from your farming run, feed it to your animals, which will give you various bonuses to start your farming run again and go around and do that. So that you can actually go and just sort of train farming, which is not really a thing you can currently do as such.
So this will be the start and end of all your farming.
That
runs,
is
I
the
think. That's
goal.
nice.
It's whether it
You've
or
got
not
the global
quite works out.
benefits as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it'll build up over time. We have a couple of reward ideas, one of which is magic beans. which Mod Rolly has prototyped. We're not sure how frequent these will be or the bouncing of them. We're not even sure if they'll actually go live because there's various bouncing concerns. But the idea is that you will get this magic bean, and you can use it on a farming spot, and it will just instantly grow.
Yeah, I've seen the prototype. It just grows stage.
Holy hell! Wait, so you could. Oh, wow. Okay, so you can use it on a spot and
you can use it on a spot, and it will grow
trees and things like that.
Thing,
yeah, that's going to be like do that on double XP, save them up. Now you can see why you're like.
The type of tree it grows into is currently random, but we're looking at tweaking that so it'll be within a sensible level band, probably.
Yeah.
Quite.
That's why these will be kind of super rewards.
They'll be rare things. Yeah, we're looking at potentially giving those rewards from trading to the visiting farmers, that kind of thing. They won't be millions of them. They'll be a rare, limited thing that you'll have to choose carefully. What else? We have an idea for ultra compost. So a step up of the existing compost, which will offer you better yield chances and better disease protection than normal compost, which you'll get from from the dung in the farm.
Yeah.
You get it from the dung in the farm, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Obviously.
So it's a byproduct of the animals.
Right.
Yep.
As poop.
There will now, Mod Rolly has been just walking up to him and just saying, poop. Because
You're wondering whether or not to put it into you've got dragons here. What about the dragon dungeons?
Yeah.
These dungeons with dragons
just
in.
put
kind of
poop everywhere
scattered, but,
that you can get some kind of benefit from. At the moment, it's poop from your farm, but we may spread poop out across the game world.
Yeah, we're British. We love poop. I'm sorry.
I have to ask the inevitable. I've got 2 questions actually, or three questions because because I just realised what time it is. So
sorry.
It's fine. It's a good discussion. 3 questions. Try and rattle them off. Is there any talks of a hero item for this?
We are not looking at doing a hero item for this.
Cool. Oh God! In that moment where you just completely forget everything you were about to say.
Promised 3
I
questions.
literally promised 3 questions. I've just literally forgotten them.
Exactly.
Do you want this back? It doesn't have them on it, but
Oh God!
It might help.
Farm.
Outfit. It works. Any type of outfit, anything like that?
We are looking into a elite farming outfit.
Okay.
That will be earned in game. No information to reveal on that yet, but yeah, we're looking at doing it.
Oh, that's the 3rd one. Ultra compost. Can you store it with leprechauns?
Yes.
Awesome. There you go. Alrighty. Because I said 3 and now I've got 4. Comp and trim Rex and MQC. Way early, I know.
We haven't gone into detail on that yet.
It's so big and core that it's going to have comp.
It probably will, but we may have to do a kind of what's the word? Grace period for it because
real-time gate.
Real-time gate because animals take some animals take quite a long time to grow. Like we jokingly talked about the idea of dragons taking 6 months. They won't probably, but they will take a good long time to reach full maturity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Okay. So if you watch Game Jam over the weekend, as we ended the streams, we